Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing the Fayee FY603 Flying Egg. It says Flying Egg here up on the top of the box there. That's where I'm getting the name from. And that's obviously is alluding to the design. It kind of looks a little bit like an egg with this canopy that it uses. It's kind of molded in canopy for the landing gear. It comes around to the top. It kind of gives it a protective, it's kind of like an all-in-one prop guard, but it doesn't do necessarily the greatest job of protecting the propellers from the sides, but it does work pretty well for protecting against the top. If you bump into the ceiling, if you want to put your hand out to test it, it'll bounce right off your, the ceiling of your hand or whatever, and it's not going to crash and hit the propellers on the top. So kind of a unique design. The landing gear works really well, as it built all in one. So a little bit different. Like I said, it doesn't work the greatest on the sides because I have crashed into the walls, and it will then kind of fall over and fall to the ground, and it's prone to throw a propeller off. I've thrown off several propellers, and that's just because it doesn't guard the sides too well. But it works, it works fine, and the propellers are simple enough to reattach, so no big deal. It does have altitude holds, so when you take off, it's really nice at holding this altitude. It's got a 0.3 megapixel camera here in the front that broadcasts the video feedback by Wi-Fi to the app on your smartphone, and that it's just going to record in standard definition on your phone. They do have a 720p one listed, which I assume probably would use some sort of an SD card or something, though I don't see any place on this drone where that would be added, so it might be a completely different model if they even have that one released, which of course would have better video. It has a 380 milliamp per hour 1S LiPo, which is proprietary, and that slides into the bottom of the drone. You slide it up in there and snap it in, and of course it has an on and off switch, so you can just leave the battery plugged in there when it's fully charged up. But you have to take it out and you plug it into this USB cable charger. So a pretty standard connector here. And the light is off when you plug it in, and it'll turn on when it lets you, so you know that it's fully charged. And it takes about an hour to charge up. The flight time I've been getting is around 5 minutes flight time with this. That's including about a 30-second LVC. So 5 minutes total flight time, about 4.5 minutes before it goes to the low voltage cutoff warning. So the LEDs will start to flash on the bottom. It's got blue LEDs in the front here, behind the motor pods and the arms, and red on the bottom. So a decent contrast for orientation, and they're fairly easy to see, especially indoors. So it's pretty good for orientation, and it flies really well, especially in the altitude hold works really well. It has two rates, a low and a high. The yaw does increase with the rates, but not a whole lot. The yaw, even on the lowest rate, is not too bad, and increases a little bit, like I said, in the expert rate, or the highest rate. But it does tend to kind of drift when I'm doing the yaw. It kind of drifts. So it's best to be flying it, I think, in the highest rate. And it's a little sportier with a little more pitch. So overall, the yaw is not bad, and it holds its altitude really well too. And it does 3D flips exceptionally well. So I was kind of surprised for this design. I thought it might be kind of sloppy, but it does it pretty good. Now it does raise up and then it flips, so it gets plenty of clearance. So you got to make sure if you're in the side that you're not too close to the ceiling or to bump into it. Of course, this helps having this canopy on it, but that's going to obviously mess up a 3D flip. But it flips really well. I was surprised at how well it flips. Let's go ahead and before we go over the control, I'll just show you the spare parts. Pretty typical. It comes with 4 extra props, which you might need because, like I said, it does tend to throw props off if you crash it into a wall, and a Phillips screwdriver for doing repairs. The controller is a bit unique. It's not real big, but it's not super small. But I haven't seen one that quite looks like this. Kind of looks like a controller for a video game with these control pads and then the control sticks, so the gimbals, and of course your phone holder. We'll go over the app here in just a moment for the Wi-Fi. The controls for the controller, this is your roll and pitch trim on this control pad on here on the right. On the left, these are, you press up once you're in the headless mode. The left button is what you use, which is labeled as X, will start up the props. And B, which is the right on the control pad, is your auto takeoff and your auto landing, which is nice because many of these altitude hold quadcopters do include that feature. Pushing down, that does not do anything on this one. You do have to press the left to start the props up, then you can do your auto takeoff. You don't just press auto takeoff and then have it take off. As you know, some of them do that. Other ones you have to start the props up. This one you have to start the props up first. You can also just start the props up and just manually take off. So you can choose between the two. I like to do the auto takeoff. It gets you a nice amount of altitude, and you don't have to know how much to push the stick up. You obviously don't want to push it too high and have it slam into the ceiling. So the auto takeoff works really well even inside. And auto landing works really nicely too. So if you just want to land it, you just can press the button and you can bring it on down, and it'll turn off the props. So you don't have to worry about the manually landing it. And that, like I said, works really nicely when I've flown it inside and done that. But you can also bring it down and manually land it. To calibrate the gyros, you bring the sticks down and out, and it'll flash, and then it'll stop flashing, and you know that's done. I did not see anything in the instructions about how to recalibrate headless mode, so I'm not sure on that one. I don't think that was in the instruction manual. If I remember, I don't remember seeing that in here. But I apologize if I overlooked it, because it does discuss headless mode in instructions, but I don't remember resetting that. But it probably is going to be some combination. There's got to be a way to reset the headless mode direction in it. Let's see, on the top it has these little bumpers. The top right one here, if you press the bumper on the top right, that's your for your 3D flips. You press that and then it beeps in the direction you want to go. The bumper on the inner left of it, you press that, and that's for your 2 rates. You switch between the rates. Like I said, it says 2. The top left, this would be, I think, again, if they release a version that takes an SD card, because it has up is video and down is for pictures, and that's obviously not going to work with the app. So I have to work with the one that has an SD card built into the to the drone, which, like I said, this one does not. Let's see, look over my notes here. I don't see anything else. I think that covers the basics of that. So let's go ahead and look at the app. All right, the app you're going to use is one here called the Wi-Fi UFO app. Let's go ahead and put the battery in and turn on and see if we can go over that really quickly. It's just like many of the other apps that are out there. In fact, it looks almost identical. So get the battery snapped in here, and go ahead and turn it on. And once you get it on, you can see the LEDs flashing. Those will go solid once you bound it to the transmitter. And the first thing you're going to do, just like all the other ones, if you've seen any of my other videos where I use a Wi-Fi flyer, you're going to go to your Wi-Fi settings in your phone, and you're going to wait for the Wi-Fi UFO with whatever ID number it's got after it. You're going to click that and press connect. And once it connects, you'll go over to the Wi-Fi UFO app, turn it the correct direction, of course, and press play. And it should come up. Okay, so once you press play, then it'll go ahead and it'll bring up the Wi-Fi feed, which I have going there. Had a little bit of trouble getting it to go. For some reason on my phone, I have to kill the app out. So once I killed out the app and then restarted it, then the Wi-Fi feed started working. So I was connected to the Wi-Fi of it. For some reason, it was not displaying the feed. So I don't know if it's how I shut down the quadcopter and I think I left the app going and powered it off. They may have confused it. I don't know. I've seen that before. But it does it on this one, particularly on my phone. It could just be my LG phone. I don't know. So just all you need to do is just kill the app out if it don't display the Wi-Fi feed, and then it'll start working. So you can see here the Wi-Fi feed, and it's not laggy. It works pretty well. The video that it records, is being recorded with the phone is not very good. It is standard definition. You can't expect it to be too good. But there's quite a bit of noise. Now, I was flying it indoors downstairs with these lights set up. It's rather dark in my house in the basement, so the poor lighting is going to contribute to the poor video quality. So if you were to do this outdoors, the video is going to look better than indoors. So, and it just has your typical controls. You can turn on or off the controls. So I, of course, have it off in the video, but you could fly this just by the app if you wanted to. Of course, it's not going to fly as well as the controller. It's got your photo and your video, and then it's got all the, your rates here. 360 flips button in the middle. If you want to, I think it has, let's see, I think this is for flying with the, using the accelerometer to fly with your finger on it. It's this one here, and then it's got some, 3D viewing and headless mode here. And I think this one is to calibrate the gyro. So you can do everything within the app. So this app looks just like the other apps that I've seen. I back out, the screen here is different, but the main screen shows a 747 coming down, as we saw a while ago when I was trying to link up with it. And I think it's all made by the same person and just repackaged for different brands. So it works just fine. It's just pretty typical, and it's pretty easy to do. It stores the video to your gallery on the phone, which then I use. I have to transfer it over to the computer to include it with this video, with my flight review. So you got to transfer it off your phone to be able to use it. So, well, I think that covers all the aspects of everything. I don't know if I recall if I said how long it takes to charge the battery or not, but it takes an hour to charge it. Like I said, I get about 5 minutes flight time with 30-second of low voltage. So just in case I forgot that, I think I covered it, but just in case I didn't, that's one of the main aspects that I want to make sure we cover that. So that pretty much covers everything. So let's go ahead and we'll move along to the flight review. Okay, let's take the Fayee FY603 flying egg, they call it. It also says smart on the top here, not exactly sure what that stands for. It's an interesting carriage that it has over at this canopy, I guess you could call it, which works really well. You bump into the ceiling, but as I mentioned earlier, it does not protect the propellers on the side, so you have to be kind of careful if you bump into the walls. It'll push in and hit the propellers. So I've already got it on, I've already got it bound to the controller, and I've got it connected to the Wi-Fi UFO app. So as you can see here, that it is all linked up, and the video feed is not laggy. Of course, it's really close, and with Wi-Fi, you don't, you don't know how it's gonna be. Some are worse than others, but most are pretty good if you're close. The farther away you get, it seems like they get laggier. So I've got the on-screen displays for the controls turned off. Of course, I'm going to use the controller. I don't fly by the app if I don't have to, because it's a lot harder to do. So I'm going to go ahead and take it up now, and we'll fly it around and try to get some footage here just recorded in my basement. So it's not going to be the best lighting for a video, but the weather outside is not good at all, so I'm not going to be able to get any flight review of this outdoors, so I have to record it indoors. So that's the best I can do right now, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead and press the record button on the video. It should be recording now, and there it pops up and says it's recording. And you just press the left on here on the stick, and this on the directional pad, and this starts the propellers up, and then you can do one key takeoff with pressing on the right here, which is B, or you can take off manually with the stick. I'll do an auto takeoff. And it says altitude hold, so it's pretty nice about holding this altitude, especially once you get it up for a moment, let it get its the barometric pressure calculated and stuff. So, all right, start up the propellers, and let's go ahead and take it up. Now that's in the lowest rate, and I found the lowest rate, the yaw. I'm going to take it over here. The lighting's a little better, and we can see the yaw with a little more space here. The yaw is not too bad, but it really wants to drift on you while you're doing it. I'm going to take it up to the highest rate here. Let's kind of do some trimming. I had it trimmed up before. And there's 2 beeps, and the yaw increases just a little bit. It isn't, you can see, not just a little bit, not a ton, but it's not too bad. So it flies pretty nice though. It holds altitude well. A little sportier in the highest rate. It's almost a little bit too big even to fly, I think, indoors. I mean, it works, but this is kind of those in-between micros where I think, it might be better suited outdoors on a calm day, which I'm not getting much of that here in the winter time. You see, it's pretty stable. I've got it trimmed up a little bit. Let's see if we can do a few flips. If I recall, my past test flights, the flips work pretty well on this. See, it does raise up, so you need to make sure that you're not too close to the ceiling, even though that carriage or the canopy does help. You bump something. Just have to be careful that like if you bump into the walls, these propellers tend to they fly off rather easily. Easy to put back on, but I've thrown quite a few props by bumping into the walls because that canopy doesn't protect those props on the side. Getting them around 5 minutes flight time with it, and there's about 30 seconds of that is the LVC, so about 4.5 minutes. Then it's going to hit the low voltage, and you got plenty of time with a half a minute before it comes on down. I'll take it over here and maybe show you how we do a auto landing here. Try to turn it around so we can see and not get washed out by the light. So you just press that same stick that you do for the auto takeoff, the right stick here, and that's going to bring it down. And it's nice, you can control it while it lands to help guide it to where you want to land, and there it turns off the motor. So really neat how I like that. Like I said, you have to start the props up before you can do the auto takeoff. I'm going to go and do a manual takeoff. Just pressing up once you start it. You see, and I didn't quite get enough clearance and just about crashed it into that box. So I think the auto takeoff works so well, I would just stick with that. That should be enough video. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording the video. Alright, we stop that. And that would have been displayed here alongside with the video. So hopefully that turned out okay. I believe this is just a 0.3 megapixel, so it's standard definition. So the box lists the 720p version also. I don't think that's the version that I have here. They did not mark which version I got on the box. And I'm pretty sure this is just a standard definition. If it happens to be the 720, I'll include that on the video here in overlay so you know. It's a little bit too big to try to do funnels here in the house. I just don't feel this thing just is not going to be able to do funnels in here. I'm going to crash it into the walls, so I'm not even going to attempt that. The 3D flips, those work pretty good. Let's see if we can do one more flip here. I went down to the lowest rate. You know these little bumpers on the top, man, to get the correct one. It's still, like I said, it flips really nice. Alright, there I'm starting to get the low voltage. You're getting the blinking lights, and let me do a flip right before that, which is surprising. Usually they'll disable the flips as the low voltage hits, so I may have just done it right before that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it down here. I'm going to try to see if I can bring it over and land it on the bed. It lands really nice. So it's a little bit noisy, so hopefully my voice you're able to hear me over the propellers. A little bit of a noisy quad, but overall a nice flying quad. The carriage on the top works well for the ceiling, just doesn't protect the sides, and the altitude hold works well, and the 3D flips work well. So overall, this is a nice little quadcopter. Not too many complaints about it, except for not protecting the sides. That's my biggest complaint. And of course, it's a proprietary battery, so you're going to have to buy the specific battery to work in this. This is a 380 milliamp 1S LiPo. So that wraps it up then. So I appreciate you watching, and be sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because I got a few more quadcopters to review over the next week. Thanks a lot for watching.